What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bring you guys day number 2 in my 8th annual 31 Days of Horror. So for today, I actually have a mini-series, not necessarily a movie, and it is Stephen King's The Stand. This was a 4-part mini-series that came out in the year 1994. 6 hours long. It is an hour and a half each, I guess, part. You have part 1, The Plague, part 2, The Dreams, part 3, The Betrayal, and part 4, The Stand. It was a very, very, very successful and big effort. It was directed by Mick Garris, who I believe was very young at the time and very young in his filmmaking career. And he got, you know, basically a dream job of directing this giant miniseries Stephen King adaptation for, I think it was CBS. I don't remember this. I never seen it when I was younger. I did pick up the DVD a couple of years ago and watched it, and I thought it started off really strong. It basically follows people who are thrust in sort of this dire situation. Basically, there's a virus or a flu that gets released to the world, and it acts like the regular flu. They call it the super flu, but by the end you die, and it doesn't really have any symptoms that are different from a regular flu. So the government tries to quarantine this town because somebody escaped who contracted it. It has a 99% contagion rate, which is just insane. So it's gonna spread no matter what. They try to quarantine this town. It doesn't really work. All the people in the town that they quarantine die off except for one named Stu. And basically, as the film goes on, the plague spreads farther and farther and farther and farther, and basically kills, you know, a huge chunk of the world. I'm talking like 99% of the world, or at least as far as we know, the United States. But that one character who survived is not alone. There are a handful of people who are immune to the plague, and they all start receiving visions of this woman named Mother Abigail, or Miss Abigail or something. This old black lady who lives in Hemingford, Nebraska, which is referenced in a few Stephen King films and stories. Most notably for me is it's the town next to Gatlin and Children of the Corn, and actually the town that, you know, the film is set in, Children of the Corn 2, which wasn't a real Stephen King story, but nonetheless, I digress. So they're having visions of this woman out in the cornfield who are basically telling them to come to her. She's 106 years old. And then there's also this bad guy named Randall Flagg, kind of this man in black type thing, and other people are having visions of him. So it's almost like these two sides begin forming, and this good versus evil scenario. And it basically all, you know, accumulates, I don't know, into this like sort of end sequence. I think that the first 2 parts are outstanding to this. I love the build-up. I love the first part in particular. I think the first part's the best part of this whole miniseries. When the plague happens, people dying, like this sort of post-apocalyptic-y or apocalyptic-y type of story that's going on. You're introduced to each of the characters, and you know, there's some really fun ones. There's like a deaf mute. There's one that's, you know, mildly retarded, for lack of a better term, mentally handicapped. And then, you know, sort of all these different characters. And it's fun seeing who they are, learning a little bit about them, and things like that. I just feel like this one kind of like muddles out a little bit in the third and fourth part. I feel like it needed more. It's very dated by today's terms. It didn't feel as epic as it was building up to be. They are rebooting this, sort of a readaptation, if you will. for CBS All Access. I'm very interested to see how that goes, because I think there's so much potential with this story, which I've never read, by the way, but I think that it would be really cool to sort of see what they do with it. Anyway, The Stand, it is a long watch. I do think it's worth watching. Don't sit down and watch it all at once. I did one part every other night and for about a week, and that's kind of how I watched it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. This is a Blu-ray here from CBS, which they just recently sent me, and Paramount Video. Certified Fresh by Rotten Tomatoes. Really like that cover. Cool collector's edition here. Blu-ray. It is in, what is it? Full, I don't know, the aspect ratio, the like square one. The TV ratio. It is in that, but you expect that, it's a TV movie. Very good. Very good movie. Just a little, it could benefit from sort of an update. I give it a 8 out of 10, because it is really epic. 6 hours. Anyway, with that said, I'll see you guys tomorrow with another review. Peace.